Welcome to this dynamic Vinyasa practice. In today's session together, we'll look at strengthening into the upper body a little bit extra, but as always, we'll integrate the whole body and open everything up. It's all one connected system. So there's a little opportunity in this practice to head towards tripod headstand, and hopefully there are some tips and tricks to just carve out a pathway of development for that in your own practice. Let's get stuck in. We'll start in a seated position. As you find a comfortable seat, let's shut down the eyes and let the hands land wherever's most comfy for you. Take a moment to lift through the lower back and into the crown of the head. And just take a moment to settle. Let your shoulders begin to relax a little, the forehead and the eyebrows. Imagine that you can release superficial tension across your belly. So the belly space just starts to become a little bit more receptive to your breath. And with that, tune into your breath, tune into the felt experience of breathing. And through that, we start to tap into some deeper layers of ourself, deeper layers of the body, deeper layers of the mind, just by tuning into what's happening. You might call it energetically in the body. That's to just say the felt experience of the body. And as you start to expand your breath, breathe in a little deeper and send it down into your body. Send that inhale down towards your hips. Let it expand and rise up through the side bodies, centralizing into the chest and lifting the chest a little. And as you exhale, let it slow down and smooth out. I'm just going to take a few rounds of Ujjayi breath here. So if you're familiar, begin immediately. If you're not quite sure, it's a very light constriction at the back of the throat. Very, very light. It's like you're creating a kind of funnel through the throat. You're tightening up the throat just a little bit, nothing stressful. And if you imagine it like a straw, you're closing the width of that straw. Now all the control of this still comes from the lower belly, the diaphragm. So no need to strain the throat extra to try and breathe slower or deeper. You should start to audibly be able to hear your breath. Now we want to make this a really pleasant experience, and so the lightest constriction possible, not the firmest. And if you haven't already, engage. We'll just take 3 or 4 more breaths like this. The breath slowing down through the constriction in the throat, tuning into the sound of the breath. Let it be one consistent tone. After your exhalation, release the back of the throat and just notice how much some conscious breathing drops your attention into your body, and more to the point, into the present moment. And it's that kind of presence, the simplicity and the content of the mind and the engagement with the body that we look to keep as we start to move. So let's go ahead and gently blink open the eyes and roll over your knees and come straight into cat-cow. As you find tabletop, take an inhale to press your belly down, and exhale to arch and raise up through the spine. And then one breath to one movement. Inhale to dip. Exhale to arch. Get your shoulder blades starting to move. So the inhale dips the belly and the chest as you squeeze the shoulder blades back, and then the exact opposite, to really spread them apart and arch through the back. Just like that, one breath to one movement. Dip to the arch. A few more by yourself here. Get some real movement going through the upper spine. One more round. And then returning to a neutral spine, walk the hands out about the width of your mat, maybe even wider, and then start to sink the chest down. Keep the hips above your knees, a very light puppy pose or anahatasana. We take some easy kind of breaths and almost feel like your armpits are wrapping down towards each other. Let all the curvature and the experience be felt in the spine more so than the shoulders. We'll just take 2 or 3 more breaths here. Final big breath. And then sink the hips all the way back and down into a very brief child's pose. But in this child's pose, tuck your toes, reach the arms out in front of you. We're only staying for one big breath. Now, don't go too quickly, but do it swiftly as you come into high plank. Pounce forward, bring the shoulders above your wrists, and then lift the hips up into down dog. Take a little bit of movement through the legs, pedaling out a few times. Breath or 2 more here. And then immediately start to walk your hands backwards towards your feet into a forward fold at the back of your mat. Really loose through the knees. You might like to catch opposite elbows above the head, but just a little bit of a sway from side to side, left to right. Just another breath or 2 here. And then bend the knees a little deeper and roll up the spine all the way through to standing. Reach up and stretch up nice and big. As you arrive, bring your right hand next to your right hip. Stretch the left arm up towards the ceiling and take a little side bend here. One breath only. Inhale, back up through to center. Switch it over. Left down, right up, stretching over. Inhale, back up again. Last one on each side. Switch, keep the glutes tight and lean. Inhale, back up, and last one, over to the side. Stretch up, 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 and over. This time, come up, back through center, and then interlace your hands behind the lower back. Roll back the shoulders, little bend in the knees as you fold again. So don't go crazy with the arms and the shoulders, but do roll back the shoulders, drop the shoulder blades down, and relax your neck. And take 2 more big breaths. And release. Hands to the floor. Walk the hands out to plank position. Shoulders above your wrists. As soon as you get there, drop the knees and lower the whole body down until you're flat. Take the hands a little bit wider off the sides of the mat. Inhale. Lift up the chest into cobra. Exhale to lower back down. And we carry on just like that. Inhale. Lifting up. Exhale. Lowering down. You might even come up onto the fingertips and carry on. Just 2 more rounds. Get a nice wave-like action through the spine. Last one. And exhale, release the chest. Push back to tabletop, hands and knees. And then tuck in the toes, sink the hips down to the heels. And this time, as we come into high plank, pounce forward, round through the upper back, 1 big breath. And then lift the hips up into down dog. Walk your hands backwards towards your feet. Roll up the spine through to standing. Reach up and stretch up at the top. Hands to prayer at heart center. Sink the hips into a chair pose here with wide knees. Now, draw the belly in, take a breath, and then lift the heels up off the ground. Now, you do your very best here to lower the hips down to the heels. Take your time. Try not to crash your knees to the floor, but lower your knees down. Lean back to compensate. Drop the knees. Hands by the side as you lift up the hips. Squeeze your glutes, suck your belly in, lean back, hold, thighs working now. One more big breath. Lift up, place the hands in front of you, sink the hips back to the heels. And just as we've been doing, pounce forward into high plank, hold for a breath, and then lift the hips up into down dog. Walk the feet forward now to the top of your mat, feet coming forwards. As you get there, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold in. Inhale, stand tall, reach up all the way. Exhale to fold again, hands coming down. Halfway lift. Step your left foot back into runner's lunge. Puff the chest forward on fingertips and then raise the right hand up into a twist. Take that into a half bind straight away. Wrap the right arm behind the lower back. Now, really try and keep your back knee very stiff, very straight. So your left hip is not going to rotate down. Keep it almost elevated, but sink through your right hip, the bent knee side. We'll take just one more breath. Keep twisting. And then lower the back knee. Keep the half bind. Take the hand off the floor and reach it up for the ceiling. Chest can face forward now. Either lean straight over towards your right hand side into a side bend or find a full Gomukhasana grip to go with the same. Either way, lift through the left side body, lean to the right. Keep breathing. Squeeze your left glute. Maybe a little bit of body weight coming forward. We'll go just one more big breath here. Into a nice deep twist. Left elbow hooks around the front knee, hands come together. Push into that prayer position as you sink the hips. We'll take just 2, maybe 3 more breaths. And then look to the floor, pick up the back knee. Got a little bit of a challenge for you here. Nestle in that elbow, look to the floor, so for balance. And then shift more and more body weight forward, forward, forward. Knees come forward to the toes. And then when you can, do your best to tap the left knee to the back of the right calf. Hold for a breath. A little bit of balance. Runner's lunge. Hands to the floor. Foot steps back and find a 3-legged dog. So your front foot lifts up and out. Bend at the knee. Tilt the hip up and open. One big breath. Exhale, knee to your nose. Pull it in tight. Inhale, lift it back up. Exhale to the right elbow, squeeze it in. Inhale, back up. And finally, to the left elbow, squeeze under the body. Inhale, back up. Step your right foot outside your right hand into a little bit of a loose lizard. So just make some movements, forward and back, some little hip circles. Even sort of scooping the collarbones up and the chest up, like a little bit of a back bend there, might be nice. And we'll take 2 more big breaths. Now from here, round your upper back, strengthen up your shoulders, push the ground away, back knee very straight, and either side plank, stepping the right foot back, or raise a right hand up and find the same. Side plank, holding, breathing, staying. We take just one more big breath now. Really go slow on the transition with me. Bring the right forearm down to the floor. Turn the hips over to the other side. The left hand is still on the ground. Side plank the other side with the forearm. So left hand coming up at the last moment. If you want it to go crazy, wild thing on the forearm. Left foot steps back. Be careful of your shoulder. Lift through the heart. Another big breath. Full forearm plank. 2 forearms to the floor. Round your upper back. So push the ground away. Drop the tailbone. One more big breath here. Push, push, push through the spine. And then walk the feet into dolphin. Walk them in. You might start to lift the tailbone a little extra as you drop the heels. We take just one more big breath here in dolphin. Stick with me. As you inhale, come into high plank. Straighten your elbows. Bring the shoulders above the wrists. We can do this. Drop back down to the forearms. Lift the hips. Dolphin. One more. Inhale, high plank. Come forward. Bend the elbows into chaturanga. Bend your elbows. Inhale, up dog. Pull the chest through. Exhale to down dog. Hips up. Breath or 2. Walk, step, or jump to the top. Feet up. Inhale, halfway lift as you get there. Exhale to fold. Stand tall, reach up all the way. Exhale to fold again, hands coming down. Halfway lift. Now the right foot stepping back. So really straighten through the back leg. Left hand raising up into the twist. Take it into a half bind. Wrap it up behind the lower back. And as you turn the shoulder back, again keeping the back leg stiff, you might sink the hips a little lower. Try not to turn through the hips. We'll go one more big breath now. Lower the back knee down. Chest faces forward as you take the hand off the floor and reach up. Either full Gomukhasana grip, monkey grip, or simply reach up and lean left. Still pin back your left shoulder, that 1.5 bind. Pin it back. Holding. Breathing. 2 breaths to go. Nice deep twist now. Right elbow around the front knee. Hands come together. Push into that prayer position. Sink the hips a little. Breath or two. We're just hanging out in this lunging twist for a moment. Let the chest rotate. And then looking to the floor. Take your time. Pick up the back knee. Hold for a couple of breaths. And then it's all about body weight. Feeling where your body weight is and your center of gravity. Shift more and more body weight forward. Toes and knees come forward to the toes. And then at the last moment, tap. Right knee to the back of the left calf. Hold for a breath. Hold. Step back, runner's lunge. Hands down, foot down. 3-legged dog. Front foot lifts up and out. Bend at the knee. Lift the hip. Tilt it up. Big breath in. Exhale, knee to the nose. Pull it in tight. Inhale, back up. Exhale to the left elbow. Squeeze. Inhale, back up. Exhale to the right elbow. Cross it under. Inhale, back up. Stepping your left foot outside your left hand. Loose lizard. A little bit of movement there. Shifting some body weight around. Just really nice soft approach. One more big breath here. All right, either 2 hands or one, but round through the upper back. If it's one, left hand coming up and into side plank. Left leg stepping back, holding. We really want to take this transition slow, step by step. Here we go. Left forearm down, find it. Turn the hips, turn the heels next. Right hand coming up at the last moment, hold. Hips lifting, side body's active. If it's wild thing, take it there. Push through the shoulder if you're in wild thing. Don't let it collapse. Hold, big breath. Forearm plank, right forearm down. You can do this. Stay with it. Drop the tailbone. Take another big breath. Walk the feet in. Lift the hips up. Hold, dolphin. Sink the heels as the tailbone lifts. Draw the chest back. One more breath. Here we go. High plank. Straighten your elbows. Shift the body weight forward. Shoulders above wrists. Do your best. Drop back down to forearms. Lift the hips. Gently does it. This time, we're coming through a flow. High plank, come forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Pull the chest through. Down dog. Hips up. 2 or 3 breaths. Last 1 or 2. Next inhale, raise your right leg up, stiff and straight. Exhale and step that foot in between the hands for crescent lunge. Raise the chest and arms up. As you arrive in this shape, tuck the tail a little, so the back knee might even bend a little bit more. Belly in, squeeze the glute. Touch your palms above your head and take that prayer behind your neck. Now squeeze the elbows in, and as you sink a little further forward into the lunge, lift the rib cage up, lean back a little, keep the glute tight. One more big breath here. And as you exhale, take a twist. Left hand forward, right hand back, twist. As you straighten through your front leg, reach up and back. Keep the front big toe plugged in. And then warrior two. Swing the left arm down, bend the front knee again, open out the arms. Straighten the front leg and reach up. Back through warrior two into side angle. Elbow to knee, top arm into a half bind. Wrap it up behind your lower back. And so as you find that half bound position, you're welcome to take it into the full bind, but keep the chest nice and open. So rotating it upward if it's the bind, and we might even just carve out a pathway towards it. If you're kind of in between, right elbow nestles inside the knee, right hand reaches back towards your hip, and that's finding the action in the shoulder. Or go further, underneath and interlock. We take a few big breaths here. Back leg stiff and strong. Keep turning the chest up towards the ceiling. We'll go one more big breath now. Inhale. Lift up the chest, straighten through the front leg and reach up and back. Bring the arms out to a T shape. Turn the front foot in, hands to prayer just for a moment. Heels in, toes out. We're coming to a goddess squat or goddess pose. So belly in, knees drive out as you sit the hips down. Hold. Chest lifting, almost a little tuck of the tail, but not much. It's knees out, belly in. Now do your best here. Sweep the arms out, raise the arms up. Even palms touch, but keep the chest pulling through the shoulders. One more big breath. And then as you turn the feet in, fold forward gently all the way in. Take an inhale to halfway lift. And then just start to bend into one knee and then the other, shifting your body weight from left to right, side to side. Couple of rounds of breath here. And then halfway lift, inhale. Walk the hands to the back of your mat. Find runner's lunge. Into crescent lunge. Raise the chest and arms up. Big breath in. Exhale through to arrowhead, sweep your arms back. As you stand up, hug the right knee in towards the chest, belly in, grab a hold of your right knee with your right hand, and then start to raise your left arm up. In this shape, take your time, it's a little tricky I think, hug the knee tight and start to lean back. Take your time though, don't rush it. Keep looking forward. When the eyes go up, it's harder. But imagine your chest is coming parallel to the ceiling. Keep your left glute tight. 2 more big breaths. Keep going. Gently hinge the chest forward. Kick the right leg out the back. Hands down, foot down. Left arm raising up into simple twist. And from there, either side plank or wild thing immediately. Turn the hips, rotate the chest, lift, big breath or 2. And as your left hand comes down, tap your left knee to left elbow, squeeze it in. Inhale, lift that leg up. Step that foot in between the hands. And turn into your left foot, into your back foot, so you can find Skandasana. Sink into your left heel. Right toes lift up. Take a couple of generous breaths. So really filling up the lower belly, lower side bodies, and let it expand upward. We take just 2 more big breaths here. Front leg nice and active. Last big breath. Ankle, knee, thigh. Big breath. Back to the top of the mat. Walk the hands up and forward. A little tricky here. So similar to before, left knee taps to the back of the right calf. Tap it in. Now kick that left leg straight out to your right into a dragon squat. So the leg is straight out to the right-hand side of your mat. Bring the arms out to a T shape and let the hips sink. We hold for a breath or 2. Chest somewhat parallel to the floor. Both legs are active. Final big breath. And as the hands come to the floor, simply step that left foot up next to the right one. Curl up the spine all the way through to standing. Reach up and stretch up, nice and big. Exhale to fold forward, and we come through a flow. Inhale, halfway lift. Step or jump back. Chaturanga, bent elbows. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. 1 or 2 breaths. Walk, step, or jump to the top, feet up. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, stand tall, reach up, nice and big. Exhale to fold again. Halfway lift. Simply step back into down dog. 1 more big breath here. Inhale, left leg raises up. Exhale and step that foot in between your hands to find crescent lunge. Arms up, big breath in. Palms touch above the head. Set your pelvis, so belly in, right glute squeezes. Prayer behind the neck, hands behind the neck. Squeeze the elbows in, lift the chest up, take breath. And as you exhale, take a twist. Right hand forward, left hand back, take a twist. Now really keep the front big toe pressing down. Straighten the front leg and reach up. Right hand reaching. Big breath in. And then warrior 2. Sweep the right hand down, bend the front knee. Open out and straighten the front leg as you reach up. Coming back through warrior 2 into side angle. Left elbow down, right arm up, and then into a half bind. Wrap it behind your lower back. We take some nice, slow, steady breaths here. Full bind is welcome. I think just focusing on the rotation of the chest either way is the idea here. A little bit of extra emphasis to sink the hips as well. We'll stay with it for 2 or 3 more breaths. Belly in, core active, hips stabilizing. 1 more big breath. Inhale, lift out, straighten the front leg and reach up and back, reverse it. Come back to a T shape with the arms. Turn the front foot in, hands to prayer at heart center, heels in, toes out, and then sink the hips into goddess. Holding, breathing. Do your very best here to raise your arms up, maybe palms touch. Holding, knees out, belly in. Stay with it. Another big breath. Fold. Heels turn out, toes turn in. Fold in. This time, take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold deeply. Welcome to grab the back of the heels. Welcome to walk the hands in between the legs. We let the shoulders kind of soften a little bit, but shift a little bit of body weight into the toes. As soon as you feel it in the toes, stop there. 3 more big breaths. Inhale, halfway lift, or on the move. Walk the hands to the back of the mat. Establish the feet. Raise the chest and arms. Crescent lunge. Big breath in. Exhale through to arrowhead. Sweep the arms back. As you stand up, hug your left knee to the chest, up and in. Squeeze the knee. Now, left hand takes a hold of it. I think bending the standing leg a little bit helps, just to drive the hips forward a touch, get your balance. And then raising the right hand up and just tiny little shifts and changes. So take your time, belly in, right glutes squeezing. Start to lean back any amount, keep the hips driving. 2 more big breaths. Release, come back through center, kick the left leg out the back, hands down, foot down, runner's lunge. Not the left, what's the other one? The right. The right arm raising up, and then as you're ready, side plank or wild thing directly. Step the right foot over. Turn the hips. Lift the chest. Hold for a breath or two. One more. And as your right hand comes down, tap your right knee to right elbow. Squeeze it straight in. Inhale. Three-legged dog. Up. Exhale. Step that foot in between the hands. And we're sinking into that right foot. Little pivot over to your left to lift the front foot, your left foot up. Holding. Breathing. Two more big breaths here. Walk the hands to the top of the mat. Runner's lunge to your left. And so this dragon squat, let's take our time. Bend the front knee more and more. Tap the right knee to the back of the left calf. And then kick that right leg out to your left. Hold straight out to the side. It's this very awkward cross-legged position. And then lift the chest just off your thigh. Sink the hips, but reach the arms out to a T and hold. Breathing. Part stretch, part strength. Mostly just an awkward position. We'll take another big breath or two. Hands to the floor. Step the feet side by side. Bend your knees. Roll up the spine. Reach up and stretch up nice and big. Exhale to fold. We come through a flow. Halfway lift. Inhale. Step or jump. Chaturanga. Bent elbows. Inhale. Up dog. Exhale. Down dog. Hips up. Drop down to the knees. Take a few moments there just kneeling, sitting down on your heels. Shut down your eyes. And just take a moment to settle. Just taking a few moments to fill up the cup. Bring some energy back into the reservoir. We feel this little buzz through the body, this calm alertness. And then let's have a little play with this posture called tripod headstand, and possibly coming from the wide-legged forward fold, prasarita pradhanasana. So I have to kind of give a disclaimer just because I'm not there with you, and you need to be accountable for your health and your body. So any headstand is obviously somewhat compromising for the neck. So if you feel like there's some instability in the neck, or even you're needing a little bit more strength in the shoulders, don't push this one. I mean, run the neck. There aren't many things in yoga that we do where it can compromise in something, it can be compromising in a way that's going to cause a pretty serious injury. So please, take it at your own discretion, but don't push this one. If it's not happening, all good. There's plenty more to yoga than just a headstand. But hopefully some of this information is interesting and helpful, and I think you'll be able to jump off this path without causing any injury. So, okay, enough said. It's on you now. Be gentle. So a couple of tips that I can give you. The number one thing that I see in tripod headstand that goes kind of badly and gives me heart palpitations is not creating that tripod aspect to begin. That's really helping us create a firm base and a solid base. So right here in a kneeling position, the hands come sort of next to the knees. And then to create that tripod, the head needs to come forward of the hands. At no point should the hands be next to your head. If they are, 100% stop, 100%. So with the hands next to your knees, lift the hips and the crown of the head comes down. Now the crown is the top of the head, not the forehead, the top of the head. Notice right here, I can see my fingers and I've got a definite tripod position. There are 3 points of contact in a triangle. So from there, some other tips: elbows, forearm to upper arm are at a 90-degree angle, at a right angle. And that's key. Second to that is slightly hugging the elbows in. Don't let your elbows wing out. Don't let them wing out. So let's put it all together. Jump off this path where you can or where you want to, and pay attention to pushing through the hands. As much as the name of it is headstand, think of it more as a shoulder push through the fingers and the hands. It's not as an elegant name, but try and focus on that. So as the hips lift, crown of the head places down, tuck the chin, and as you lift the hips up, notice my elbows at 90 degrees, and right here the crown of the head is on the floor. From here, one knee to the top of one tricep or what, the upper arm, the other knee to the other one. Now, if this is too much, that's where you stop. That's where you jump off this path. If you're doing okay, you might be at a wall at this point. If you're doing okay, think of tilting the tailbone up over the head. Now the heels draw in and the tailbone lifts to get the knees up. From there, extending upward. Gosh, that's hard to talk upside down. So, all those structural points, the tricky part, I think, is from the knees being on the elbows or the upper arms, and then tilting the tailbone up to lift the hips up. We'll give it one more go. Same deal applies. This time, we're going to do it from the wide-legged forward fold. So either try that again from the kneeling position, or we can come through from, which way should I go? This way. So from this wide-legged position, similar stuff is going on. So a half lift, a fold in. It's just a little bit stronger through the shoulders, but all the same rules apply. Hands, crown of the head, and it's a deep fold already. You might have to walk the feet back, but then one knee to one elbow or the upper arm, other to the other, and then tailbone up. And we might just stay there. Maybe legs come up. Tight belly, elbows not winging out. We hold, we breathe, we push through the hands, and then maybe knees coming back, feet wide, and release. Hopefully, there's not an ambulance being called at this point. I'm sure he did well. So some of it might just be information moving forward. Of course, it's going to take some time to strengthen up the neck, but a lot of it's through the shoulders. So keep working that shoulder strength. It's all good stuff. All right, let's start to cool it off, shall we? Crawl towards the top of the mat. And once you're there, take the legs out to the side, legs out in front of you, and then immediately rolling down onto your back. We'll have a little lie down for just a few moments here. Big work. Settle for a sec. A little drop of the knees from side to side maybe. Then we'll come through a round of bridge. If you want to practice wheel, now's your time. But let's open up the hips. So tilt the tailbone up, lift the hips up, hold, maybe interlace the hands underneath the lower back. But belly draws in, back of the heart lifting up. Two more big breaths. Tilt the tailbone forward. Keep the bottom of your glutes strong. Last breath. Release. Come on down, nice and slow. Drop the knees again, side to side, left to right. Hug the right knee in and kick the left leg out to the floor. And then we'll head into a twist. So take that right leg across to your left. Open out the right shoulder. Nice, easy breathing. Two more big breaths here. Inhale, back up through to center. Onto the other side. Left knee coming in, take it over. Really let your left shoulder sink and settle. 2 or 3 more breaths. Inhale, back up through the center. Knees to chest. Rock your way up to a seat. Once you've arrived in that seat, we'll come to Janusashasana. So right leg out to the side, one-legged forward fold. Turn the body towards that right leg, and you might wrap that left hip in as well. Lift through the belly, lift through the lower back, chest tall, as you start to bow and fold in and forward. You might like to bring, for some of us, the left hand to the outer leg, whether it's the blade of the foot, even the outer shin or the outer knee. Just that little bit of guidance over to the outside of the leg. We try and keep the front ankle active, the toes pointing upward. So there's some activation in the top of the leg, the front of the leg, the shin, top of the knee, like above the knee, into the thigh. We keep a little bit of that, and it sends a neurological signal to the body or to the leg here to release the backside, where we're kind of stretching into. But it's an active stretch, part strength, part flexibility. Just 2 or 3 more breaths now. With an inhale, lifting up, lifting out, stargazer to follow. Left hand behind your hip. Rock your way up onto your knee or your shin. Reach over the head, take a big breath. And then release, come on down, and we'll go into the other side. So left leg kicks out. Turn the body a little extra towards that leg. Lift through the lower back, and then start to bow forward and in. Again, welcome to grab the outer foot or thereabouts, folding in, softening in. Nice steady and slow breaths. Three more breaths here. Let the inhale fill up into the lower back. Last big breath. Inhale, chest lifts up. Right hand behind the hip, stargazer. Rock up onto the shin, lift the hips. Big breath. And then release, come on down, nice and slow. Come into just sort of placing the feet on the ground at about mat width apart, and then dropping the knees from left to right, side to side a couple of times. Left to right, side to side. And then from there, coming into like a seated figure 4. So place your right ankle on the left knee, draw the left heel in, and then walk the chest in as far as you want to go. So hands are behind you, propping up the chest. And if you wanted more than this, we come into seated cradling the baby. So left leg out, if that's the case, you want to jump off this path and go further. Foot comes into the crease of the left elbow, chest nice and tall, and it's just sort of drawing the shin in, wrapping the arms and squeezing. We take a couple of big breaths. We take 2 or 3 only here. And then release just for a moment as a bit of a reset. Hands behind you, fingers somewhat facing forward or out to the side. Roll back the shoulders, bent knees. Lift the hips into reverse tabletop. Squeeze your glutes, push the chest through the shoulders. One more breath. And release. Come on down, straight onto the other side. Left ankle, right knee, draw it in. Walk the hands in a little if you like to. Chest up, belly in. And again, if you want to take it into the cradle baby, now's your time. Left foot into the crease of the elbow. Looking for a fairly tall lower back here as well. But leg up, and just that squeezing action. Chest forward, leg in. You're sandwiching. Holding. A few more deep and easy breaths. Let it flow, let it move. Last breath or two. And then release. Bring the soles of the feet to touch. Knees out to the sides. Walking the sitting bones back. Drawing the heels in. Chest lifting. And then starting to bow forward. Easy breathing. No extra strain here, none needed. Soften the neck, soften the shoulders. Let everything just settle into this posture. So, a very internal process. Three more big breaths here, not too long a hold. Inhale, chest lifts up, and then close up the knees and roll down onto your back. As soon as you arrive on your back, take happy baby, grab the outer blades of the feet, have a little pedal and a kick. Breath or two. And then just a little windscreen wipe, dropping the knees from side to side, left to right. And then lifting the legs up towards the ceiling. Just a 5 or 6 breath hold here. Just to kind of get the essence of the inversion, relaxing the belly space. And bend the knees a little. Really soft, really easy. Nice light legs. And then almost just sort of floating the heels down to the floor just as easily as you can. Extend the legs. If there's something else you need before Savasana, please feel absolutely welcome. But let's come down for a bit of a rest. Tuck the shoulder blades underneath you. Nice deep breath in, long breath out. Let the shoulders relax heavily into the floor. Hips softening in. Your breathing just becoming normal, natural, automatic. See if you can notice these points of contact all at once. Your heels, your hips, your hands, your shoulders, and your head. Heels, hips, hands, shoulders, and head. Heels, hips, hands, shoulders, and head. All at once. Let the body sink. Find a few moments of rest here. Total relaxation. Take a nice deep breath in. Shift your attention outwardly. Engage with movement, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Have a stretch, awaken the body. Turn off to a side, and then make your way up to a seated position. Eyes closed for a moment. If you're called to, bring your hands to prayer at heart center. We take a moment here and we bring the hands to this position as a gesture. It's a gesture of union and togetherness, not only with the practice and with each other, but ultimately with yourself. And it's with that in mind that we take a humble bow of the head and say Namaste. A pleasure as always. Thank you for joining. Take care, have fun. Love to hear how you go and how your development progresses with this. So be in touch. Much love to you. See you again.